The Lives of the Saints by Father Alban Butler. July 5th, St. Athanasius the Athonite. Mount Athos, that is, the eastern peak of the triple promontory with which the Chalcidic Peninsula enters the Aegean Sea, has been for 1,000 years the main center of Byzantine monasticism. This monastic republic, as it has been called, has not been in communion with the Holy See for many centuries. But at the beginning of its organization and in previous centuries, when Mount Athos was populated by small colonies of hermits, it constituted a center of Catholic orthodoxy in a different sense than today. The one who organized the group of monasteries on Mount Athos was St. Athanasius. He was born in Trebizond, around the year 920. He was the son of an Antiochian and received at baptism the name of Abraham. He studied in Constantinople, where he became a professor. When he was a teacher in Constantinople, he met St. Michael Melenos and his nephew Nicephorus Phocas. The latter was to become his protector when he occupied the imperial throne. Abraham took the habit in the monastery that St. Michael ruled in Kemena of Bithynia and received the name Athanasius. There he lived until about 958. The monastery of Kemena was a laura, that is, a series of isolated cells built around a church. When St. Michael Melenos died, Athanasius foresaw that they were going to elect him abbot and fled to Mount Athos. There God reserved for him an even heavier responsibility than the office of abbot, which he had shunned. Wearing the clothes of a rough peasant and with the name Dorotheus, St. Athanasius retired to a cell on the outskirts of Kairos, but his friend Nicephorus Phocas soon discovered him. Emperor Nicephorus, who was about to undertake an expedition against the Saracens, asked Athanasius to accompany him to Crete to organize it, and to support him in the enterprise with his blessing and prayers. As is well known, contemplatives are often great men of action, which, moreover, is not strange. Athanasius, overcoming his repugnance to return to the world, accompanied his friend. After the victory of the expedition, Athanasius asked the emperor for permission to retire again to Mount Athos. Nicephorus Phocas granted it, but not without giving him a large sum to found a monastery. The saint built the first proper monastery on Mount Athos in early 961, and the church 2 years later. St. Athanasius dedicated the monastery to the Blessed Mother of God. But today it is known by the name St. Athanasius, or simply Laura, that is the monastery. Fearing that the emperor would call him to court, St. Athanasius took refuge in Cyprus to flee from honors and charges, but Phocas, who again discovered his hiding place, told him to return to govern his monastery in peace and gave him more money to build the port of Athos. Adopting for his monastery the system of the Lauras, St. Athanasius, who disagreed with the monastic ideas of St. Basil and St. Theodore the Studite, returned in a sense to the monastic tradition of Egypt. The monks of St. Athanasius were to distance themselves from the world as much as possible. Even today, the monks of Mount Athos, as a rule, break all ties with the world. St. Athanasius had many difficulties with the solitaries who had occupied Mount Athos since ancient times and considered, not without reason, that precedents gave them certain rights of occupation. These solitaries looked with disfavor on the construction of monasteries, churches, and ports, and opposed the rules that St. Athanasius wanted to impose on them. The saint was almost killed on 2 occasions. Knowing that violence is capable of corrupting the best of causes, Emperor John Tzimiskes intervened, confirmed the donations made by Nicephorus Phocas, prohibited opposition to St. Athanasius, and recognized his authority over the entire territory and inhabitants of Mount Athos. In this way, the saint became superior general of 58 communities of hermits and monks, in addition to the monasteries of Iveron, Vatopedi, and Esphigmenou, which he himself founded and which are still preserved. St. Athanasius died around the year 1000 as a result of the collapse of the vault of the church in which he was working with 5 other monks. The name Athanasius the Laurentian, or Athanasius of Trebizond, is mentioned in the preparation of the Byzantine liturgy.